Hello, friends. Welcome back. For those who are new here, I'm Kat. I'm a wife, a homeschool mom, and an avid reader. It is the end of February, getting ready to go into March, and it is time to look at what I plan on reading during the month of March. This is something I try to do around the end of the month so that I kind of get my plans in place. This month has been a little weird for me because normally February I am struggling a little bit. I normally end up in a little bit of a slump, and that hasn't happened yet. So, does that mean it's coming in March? I don't know. I definitely hope not. For the month of March, I do have a couple book club books that I'm going to read, but I also have several books that will go along with a readathon that I'm planning on doing this month. So let's jump right in. The first for book club picks is episode 13. By Craig DeLuey. This is for the Pyramid Book Club, hosted by Michelle, Lexi, and Monica. And I'll leave a link to their pages in the description below. But one of the things that they do is between the three of them, they kind of rotate picks. And this month they are doing episode 13, which is Lexi's pick, and it is following a husband and wife reality TV team who are ghost hunting experts. And episode 13 is going to take them to every ghost hunter's holy grail, the Paranormal Research Foundation. This crumbling derelict mansion holds secrets and clues about bizarre experiments that took place there in the 1970s. It is also undoubtedly haunted, and Matt hopes to use scientific techniques and high-tech gear to prove it. So this one is a horror read. And so I am excited to read this, especially after spending so much time in February reading some horror that didn't scare the living daylights out of me. I kind of associate that with horror, and so I shy away from it. But it's been fun this year finding some adult horror that I can read and still keep a little separation from. The next book club pick that I have is for the Late Night Cruise book club, and this is The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi. Sarafi. There it is. I'll get it eventually. Amina al-Sarafi. This one, I'm not even going to attempt the author's last name. I will put up the cover for this book right here. So for this book, we are the Late Night Crew gets together toward the end of the month, and we do a non-traditional book club. I guess of this. This one's going to be a little different because it's almost 600 pages. So I don't think we're going to finish it in sprints. If they do finish it in sprints, I will be very surprised and probably a little self-conscious of my own reading speed. But in this, it is a new release, and it will be released at the end of February. So I don't know a whole lot about it, and this is one of the first I'm hearing about it. It is the same author who did The City of Brass. and that one has a lot of positive um, reviews. Oh my goodness, my brain is not in it. Okay, so this one is Amina should be content after storied after a storied and scandalous career as one of the Indian Ocean's most notorious pirates. She survived several backstabbing rogues, vengeful merchant princes, several husbands, and one actual demon to retire peacefully with her family to a life of piety, motherhood, and absolutely nothing that hints at the supernatural. But when she's tracked down by the obscenely wealthy mother of a former crewman, she's offered a job no bandit could refuse: retrieve her comrade's kidnapped daughter for a kingly sum. The chance to have one last adventure with her crew, do right by an old friend, and win a fortune that will secure her family's future forever. It seems like an obvious choice that it must be God's will. Yet the deeper Amina dives, the more it becomes alarmingly clear there's more to this job and the girl's disappearance than she was led to believe. For there's always risk in wanting to become a legend, to seize the last chance at glory, to savor just a bit more power, and the price might be your very soul. So this one looks like a lot of fun. It is a longer one. So we're going to see how this month goes. I am really excited to read it. I have not read any of the City of Brass series, but I've heard really great things, and this author seems to be well loved and enjoyed by a wide variety of readers, so I'm hoping that I enjoy it. Also, for the month of March, Steph from Steph Loves is hosting a readathon for the final book support group, and it's supposed to run the whole month of March. I'm really excited because I do have some series that I would like to finish or continue on in the series. One of those is the series I have started rereading this year, and that is the Outlander series, with the second book being Dragonfly in Amber. I have read this one before. This one always throws me off a little with how it starts because it's got some time jumps in it, and my brain goes, wait a minute, how did we end up from where we were at to here? Because it doesn't seem to be congruent with the story of where it left off. This one we are following Claire Randall, who has many secrets in her life, including the fact that in the first book she touched some stones and traveled back in time. And this is the continuation of that story. And I'm really looking forward to rereading this and continuing on in this so that I have a little more of the details fresh in my mind for when I continue the books that I haven't read yet of this series. I've had a lot of fun reading the books in the past and watching the series, but I kind of paused on the TV series because it had moved beyond what I had read in the books, and I'd like to read the books first. So Dragonfly in Amber is one of those that I am looking forward to reading. It is nearly 1,000 pages, so it is a chunky one. It seems to be that that's the way I'm leaning, but it shouldn't be too bad because I do know some of the events in this book. One series that I am looking forward to completing is the Aurelian Cycle. I have book 3 here, Fury Song. This book came out at the end of 2022, and it's following Lee and Annie, who are raised in an orphanage, and they become dragon riders. And throughout the first book, we find that one of them has been hiding who he is. One of our characters has been hiding who he is, and he's actually part of the royal family that was overthrown, and just how his family dynamics play into this, and what it means to him being someone who is part of the upper class in a classless society. It's very reminiscent of the fall of the Russian royal family in the early 1900s, and kind of how what would have kind of the author's reimagining of what would happen if there were dragon riders in that time. This is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the first 2 books, and I am looking forward to finishing this series to find out what Lee and Annie are deciding to do from here. Another series that I am looking forward to continuing during the month of March is another chunky book. Again, what am I doing to myself? Who knows? Charmed by Tracy Wolff. This is the fourth book, I believe, in no, it's the 5th book in the series, but this one goes back in time between Crave and Crush, where we find out what happened during the 4 months that our main character, Grace, why I can't remember her name, I don't know. This is where we find out what happened to Grace during the 4 months that she was in her gargoyle state, that at the end of Covet, but before we start Crush. I'm sorry, at the end of Crave before we start Crush. And we find out what happens in that 4-month gap when she is locked in stone. And how the relationships that we see in Crush continue, and how some of those started. This one I am really excited to read, because this one is actually looks like it is from the sorry, this is a dual point of view one. So it's going back and forth between Grace and the older Vega brother. I can't remember his name. Go figure. Why can't I remember these names? I'm not sure. So we have this one. I'm really excited to continue this. This is kind of like a grown-up Twilight book, where we have a human in the world of supernaturals, but she doesn't know that supernaturals exist, and how she is coming to terms with that. I really have enjoyed the first 4 books and have always been kind of curious what happens during this middle section, so I am excited to continue this series. Another series that I'm looking at continuing during the month of March is the Grimrose Girls series, with the second book being The Wicked Remain. This one also came out at the end of 2022. And in the first book, we are following these four friends who are trying to come to grips with one of their classmates being murdered. And this has a lot of kind of tie-ins with a lot of different fairy tale stories. So we see some of the like Sleeping Beauty and Little Mermaid, Cinderella, those kind of stories all intertwined. In the Wicked Remain, we are continuing our story from where we dropped off. And we are trying to go with Nani, Yuki, Ella, and Rory as they are trying to break the curse before another one of them dies. This one I didn't enjoy as much as some of the others on my list, but at the same time, I don't want to just abandon a book without giving an author kind of that second chance, as it were, because this is really a well-liked series from what I've seen, and I'm looking forward to seeing if I am going to enjoy it or if this is another one of those that I've aged out of and not enjoying as much because they are a younger YA story. Another series that I am looking forward to continuing during March is the Up and Under series. This one is by A. Deborah Baker, which is a pseudonym for Seanan McGuire. And in this is a middle grade story, and we are following Avery and Zib. In the first book, Avery and Zib go over the Woodward Wall and end up in this magical land. Along the Saltwise Sea, which is the second book, they are continuing their journey trying to get back home. And then in our third book, Into the Wind-Wrecked Wilds, they are still trying to get back home. And this time they have the help of the Queen of Swords' son, Jack Daw, and they're hoping that they can escape the Queen of Swords' realm without turning into monsters themselves. This is one that I've enjoyed the first two books, and I am definitely looking forward to reading this third one and seeing if it will continue in the way that I've enjoyed the others. As if those 7 books were not enough, I have decided to throw a couple other series that I am reading and enjoying and need to finish on this list so that if I finish these, I have some books to fall back on. It is going to be spring break for us in the first full week of March, and so I might end up reading more than I expect. If I finish 7 books in March, I will be very happy. But one of the series that I am in is The Sisters of Shadow and Light, and I have the second one, Warriors of Wing and Flame. This is a series that I got the first book in a book box. Really enjoyed Shadow and Light when I read it, and immediately bought Warriors of Wing and Flame when it came out in 2021, I believe. 2020. I'm sorry. And it's been sitting on my shelf ever since. So I may have to go back and reread the first book so that I remember what went on. But it was one I really enjoyed the first book, and so wanted to read the second book, and then it got stuck on the shelf and not finished. So hopefully I will get to this one. Another one that I also started before and pre-ordered the next book as soon as I finished the first, that I still haven't gotten to, is Kingdom of the Cursed by Carrie Maniscalco. This one is the author of Stalking Jack the Ripper. And as soon as I saw that she had created a new series, I wanted to try it out. I got Kingdom of the Wicked as an arc, read it, loved it, and then now need to finish the series. Kingdom of the Cursed is continuing to follow Victoria. The sister who is gone is Amelia. Yeah, I don't remember. This may be one that I also need to reread the first book. This one we have a witch family with sisters. One of the sisters is murdered, and the other sister is trying to avenge her sister's death. This has demons and all of that in it. It's a lot of fun. When I read the first one, it's just been so long, I don't exactly remember what's going on. So I may have to reread the first book as well. The last book I put as a possible read for March with continuing series is Firefly Life Signs. If you've been following my channel, you know that I really enjoy the Firefly series that just had one season, and then the movie Serenity. And recently there has been a kind of there's been a lot of excitement with Disney's talking about revamping the series and bringing it back, or starting it over. And so with that, though, there's been a lot of hype about it, and so the novels have been kind of my go-to lately when I want to continue finding out about Mal and Zoe and the other characters in it. All the books by James Lovegrove all take place between the end of season 1 of Firefly and the movie Serenity. And so Life Signs is continuing in that. This is the 5th in the series, where we just continue following Mal and his crew to find out their adventures and hopefully a little backstory into who they are. And there you have it, friends. I have 4 physical books that I already have in my hands. I have one on hold at the library, along with 2 that I will read digitally, and then a possibility of 2 others, along with some on their way from Amazon. I am really excited to continue a lot of my series and have a time to focus on them during the month of March. and hopefully they will help get me through spring break and coming back for our last few weeks of school. What are you reading in March? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you soon.